Today we're doing section 2.3 day 1, and we're going to be talking about polynomial equations and how to create the graphs. So discussing end behavior to begin. End behavior is the ends of the graph. So there's always a right end and a left end, and this is based off of your coefficient and your highest exponent. So I know in your packet it says n is odd, n is even. We're going to kind of make a different little table. So we're going to write positive and negative here. And then we'll write odd and even. So just write this little table in the space I provided for you on your notes. So positive versus negative is talking about the leading coefficient. So the leading coefficient would be like the number in front of the variable. Even and odd is talking about the highest exponent. Okay, so if my exponent is odd, meaning 1, 3, 5, and the leading coefficient is positive, the end behavior is going to be down, up. And the reason it will be down, up is it's overall going to have a positive slope. So the left end is down, the right end is up. If my coefficient is negative, it's just going to flip the graph upside down, so it's going to go up, down, because the picture starts in the top and travels down. If it's even, a squared, a fourth, a fifth, a sixth power, we're talking about, think about a parabola, that's a squared. End behavior is the same, because a parabola is like a U. So if it's positive, the end behavior is up, up. If it's negative, but an even exponent, then my end behavior is down, down, because again, a negative coefficient just reflects your picture upside down. So let's kind of just go through a few examples using this chart. So I have this equation that's not in standard form, and in order to use that table, I need to figure out ultimately what my first term is. I don't care about the rest of the terms. So nothing's going to change this first term from this part, so it's going to remain a negative 4x cubed. This part, this x minus 1 squared, if I FOILed it, I would write it twice and I'd FOIL. I'm not concerned about all the other terms. All I'm concerned about is the first term. So when I write this twice, the x times the x, my first term would be an x squared from that part. And nothing's going to change this. There's no exponents on it, so it's going to remain an x. If I multiply all of these out, I get negative 4x to the 6th power. Okay, and again, we're only concerned about the first term to use that table. So my leading coefficient is negative, and my highest exponent is even. So based on this, it can be determined that our end behavior is going to be down, down. Okay, so there's a practice problem. Go ahead and try it in your notes. Put it in the video. Now for our next example, the directions say determine if the given graph is the complete graph. So based on the picture that's given, this end behavior is down, up. So we don't know if what we're seeing is the full picture or if it's zoomed in. So I'm going to go over to the equation now. This is the equation that's supposed to match the graph. So all I care about is the first term. So my leading coefficient is negative, highest exponent is even. Therefore my end behavior should be down, down. So we can determine that this is not the full picture. So this is not the full graph. If I were just to create a really quick rough sketch of a possibility of what the rest of the picture would look like, I would say it looks something like that. So what's missing is the picture zoomed in just on this part, and what you don't see is that stuff on the right-hand side. All right, so our last example, they want you to find all the zeros or x-intercepts. So zeros, x-intercepts mean the same thing. So for this, we're going to factor by grouping. If you do the box, go ahead and put all 4 terms inside the box. So I'll take out an x squared, and I'm left with x plus 3. Over here, I'll take out a negative 1, and I'm left with an x plus 3. So this factors to be x squared minus 1 and an x plus 3. Now, quick little recall, because this is to the 3rd power, I'm supposed to get 3 answers. So don't forget that when you're solving these problems. I'm going to set each part equal to 0 now that I factored. So the easiest one's over here. I know I get -3. The one on the left side, I have to set equal to 0, and I'm going to be taking the square root. And remember, the square root of 1 is plus or minus 1. So my 3 answers are -3, -1, and 1. So a common mistake is that students don't put the plus or minus, and they'll give me 2 answers. They'll say -3 and 1. But if you kind of recall that you needed 3 answers, that might help you not make that mistake. Letter B you're going to try on your own. Let's go over letter C. So letter C is different. I don't have 4 terms, so I can't go right into grouping. I can look at this, and I do have a GCF of an x squared, so I will take out an x squared to begin this problem. So when I do that, I'm left with a -x squared plus 4x minus 4. So I am now going to go ahead and determine if I can factor. So a times c is a +4, and my combination would be a 2 and a 2. So I'd have -x squared plus 2x plus 2x minus 4. My boxers, these are your 4 terms that go inside your box, so go ahead and put them inside. My groupers, you group the first 2, you group the last 2. So I'll take out an x, I'm left with -x plus 2. Over here, I need to make them match, so I'm going to take out a -2, and that will change this to be a -x plus 2. And now I have an x minus 2 and a -x plus 2. And the x squared that we pulled out from the very beginning is still here. So to get my answers, I'm going to get 2 answers from this x squared part, because if I set this equal to 0, I take the square root, and the square root of 0 is what we call plus or minus 0, which is just 0 twice. From the next one, I'll get a +2. And from the third part, I'll get another +2 as well, because I'd have -x equals -2 divided by the -1. So this is introducing a new vocab word called multiplicity. So I have 0 twice, so I have 0 with a multiplicity of 2, because I got the answer 2 times. And I got 2 with a multiplicity of 2, because I got that answer 2 times. So we'll kind of discuss what that word means a little bit more tomorrow.